In professional sports, most interviews are just background noise. A handful of polite answers, some cliched coach jargon, and everyone moves on. But occasionally, someone says something that hits a nerve, and suddenly an entire fan base erupts. That's exactly what happened with the Indiana Fever. One line from the team president sent Fever fans into a frenzy. It turned into a global story. Comment sections exploded with outrage. The backlash became so overwhelming that the Fever's president ended up deleting her X account. But here's the twist nobody expected. The viral clip that triggered all of this isn't even close to the most important thing she said. In fact, if you're a Fever supporter, what was hidden deeper in that press conference is even more troubling. Going into 2025, the expectations were sky high. New leadership, a fresh coaching staff, and what many hailed as one of the strongest free agency hauls in recent WNBA history. The Now You Know campaign? It pulled no punches. It boldly declared to the entire league, this is our era. And front and center was Caitlin Clark, the most discussed athlete in women's sports. Fully rested, energized, and seemingly ready to dominate. Expectations? Off the charts. This wasn't just about rebuilding. It was about winning now. Title or bust. They kicked things off strong, dismantling the Sky on their home floor. It looked like everything was finally aligning. Then, reality set in. Caitlin Clark has already missed nearly half the season due to injuries. Dana Bonner, the veteran leader meant to anchor the locker room, gone after just 9 games. And the product on the court? Saying it's been frustrating doesn't do it justice. Some nights they look unbeatable, toppling contenders like the Liberty, Lynx, Dream, and even the Aces. Other nights, they lose to the Sparks, twice. And when Caitlin is playing, the game plan has been baffling. Keep her off the ball. Which is the exact opposite of where she thrives, a point she's publicly emphasized multiple times. So let's take stock. You sold the dream of a championship. You added veteran experience. You brought in a new head coach. Yet halfway through the season, the team is barely above 500 while keeping the ball out of your superstars' hands. Yeah, the fans are upset. And their anger isn't just directed at the coaching staff. They're looking higher up the ladder, at the general manager, and especially at the mastermind behind it all, Fever president Kelly Krauskopf. When Kelly stepped into her role in 2024 after spending 6 years as assistant GM for the Pacers, fans were hopeful. She was seen as the seasoned executive who could finally build the right team around Caitlin Clark. But now, midway through an underwhelming season, that hope has faded. Then came the viral clip, and everything ignited.
Yes, we have a foundational player in Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, and we're going to continue to add to that. But I want this team to be the leader in the country, and a brand, an enduring brand, like Apple or something.
The outrage was swift, and it all centered on a single idea. Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the Indiana Fever, she is the Indiana Fever. And to be fair, fans had a point. Since Caitlin joined the WNBA, the Fever's value has skyrocketed, rising by 273%. They're now the 3rd most valuable team in the league, worth $335 million. In 2023, the Fever averaged just over 4,000 fans per home game. This past season, that number soared to more than 17,000, a 318% increase. And the impact didn't stop there. WNBA viewership on ESPN went up by 170% last season. But Caitlin's games, they were just a part of that surge. They drove it. Her matchups accounted for 45% of the WNBA's total broadcast value. Teams moved games to NBA arenas just to accommodate the Caitlin Clark crowd. Merchandise sales exploded. Ticket demand shot through the roof. Every franchise in the league saw its valuation double or more. Today, the WNBA as a whole is worth $3.5 billion. So when people say Caitlin Clark is the brand, they're not exaggerating. She's not just a key figure for the Fever, she's the engine of the entire league. If Kelly Krauskopf claims she's trying to build the Apple of the WNBA, then Caitlin Clark isn't just the iPad. She's the iPhone, the MacBook Pro, the AirPods. She is the product line. And to get the most out of that product, you don't hide it away. You put the ball in her hands and let her lead. Yet that hasn't been the reality this season. Coach Stephanie White has installed a motion-heavy offense that keeps Caitlin off the ball. This despite Caitlin making it clear she excels when she's directing the offense. It's more than just a bad strategy, it's been infuriating for fans. Because when you expect a generational playmaker to stand around while less talented players try to initiate the offense, you're not just limiting her, you're diluting the entire experience. The offense stagnates, the energy flatlines, and the Fever resemble a team that has no clue how to use their best asset. If Caitlin were put in a position to thrive, this whole controversy over Kelly's statement might have fizzled out quickly. But with the team treading water, confused about its identity, and actively underutilizing its franchise player, Kelly's comments felt like a slap in the face. Because for more than a year, fans have seen the media, opposing players, and parts of the league cast doubt on Caitlin's impact. That she's overhyped, that she hasn't earned the attention, that the WNBA's growth has nothing to do with her. So when the Fever president implied that the team is bigger than Caitlin Clark, it sounded like yet another voice trying to diminish her value. The backlash was immediate. Fox News, Yahoo, the Daily Mail, the New York Post, everyone covered it. But here's the kicker, the part nobody noticed. This wasn't a recent interview. It didn't happen this week or even this season. It was from back in 2024, which somehow makes everything sting even more. I watched the full press conference. You're welcome. And honestly, in the moment, given where the franchise was headed, a lot of what Kelly said actually sounded solid. Fans were excited, the energy was high, and on the Fever's own YouTube channel, the response was overwhelmingly positive. More than 950 comments praising her as intelligent, polished, and exactly what the team needed. At the time, no one took issue with her statements. But now, after seeing how the season has unfolded, that same press conference hits completely differently. Because buried within all the corporate optimism was a quote that should make every Fever fan stop and think.
I see so many similarities in Caitlin and Tyrese, primarily because they control the tempo of the game. And we want to play almost identical to the way the Pacers are playing, or maybe they want to play like we're playing. But either way, it's, finding those right fits around a point guard like her is going to make us awfully dangerous.
What Kelly outlined was exactly what supporters were hoping to hear. A fast-paced offensive system with Caitlin Clark running the show, setting up her teammates, dictating the game. That's Caitlin Clark basketball. And just to erase any doubts, she emphasized how Caitlin's playing style would be a magnet for future free agents.
I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her. She, much like Tyrese Halliburton, she gets you the ball in places that you didn't even know you were open.
Which brings up the obvious question, what went wrong? Because what was promised, an up-tempo, free-flowing offense centered around Caitlin Clark, is nowhere to be found. Not even close. And it's driving fans and analysts absolutely crazy.
And how much grace are we going to give to a coach because the coach says, we're working things out for the rest of the season, we're trying to figure out our identity? Do you want to know what your identity is? You shouldn't need to figure out your identity. You have Caitlin effing Clark on your team.
And it's not just the scheme, it's the roster construction too. Because remember, Kelly didn't just promise a system tailor-made for Caitlin. She promised players would want to play with her that they'd bring in talent suited to Caitlin's strengths. So let's examine who they actually signed. Dana Bonner, the experienced veteran meant to add stability? Gone after just 9 games, allegedly due to fit issues. Natasha Howard? She's been okay, but clearly hasn't found her rhythm with Caitlin. And what's she doing looking Caitlin off and bringing the ball up herself? She said she wanted to be MVP. Watching that moment back, you've got to wonder what kind of role she was pitched during negotiations.
At the end of the day, the way Indiana came at me with everything they promised me and they keeping their promise, they sold me.